time to play ball. Welcome to the podcast with no limits. Whether it be sports, current events, or random thoughts, this is the place to step in and stay a while. Your host is a proud alumnus of Rio Hondo Prep, a former minor league baseball umpire, and a man with strong opinions. Welcome to the Get Home Safe podcast and your host, Matt Hersema.
Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Get Home Safe. I'm a little early here on the recording, which is always good. Last week, even a couple of weeks ago, was a little behind. So just making up for lost time, if you will. I do have some news about why I'm recording a little early, and I will get to that in just a second. But you guys can tell, I got my Rams colors on here. Well, kind of. It's in a somber gray. That I will touch on here in a minute. But man, just like that, we blinked and we're in the middle of November. It is currently Tuesday night for me, 11:15. But when you guys hear this tomorrow morning, it'll be on the backside of the month of November. So where does time go? It is wild indeed how quickly time does in fact fly. Back here on the Get Home Safe podcast, guys, I have a few notes, a few things written down. Not sure how long we're going to go today, but I did want to mention something off the bat that was just really, really disturbing. On Sunday night, I believe, out in Virginia, any murder is heartbreaking and is a tragedy. But this one hit the sports world on Sunday evening when a former football player for the University of Virginia ended up killing three current University of Virginia young men. I talked about this a while back, just when these tragedies occur, and just there's no words for it really. And when you see three young men in the prime of their life playing football, just their lives are taken from them, and not just them, but the families that they're from, and everyone is hurting quite a bit out in Virginia. And I did want to take a moment to mention the three football players' names. I'm sure you guys have heard about this. It's been all over, but if you haven't, please check it out. And let me quickly read to you their names. Again, these were student athletes at the University of Virginia. Not an easy school to get into, so they had a bright future ahead of them if football wasn't going to be on the table. But Devin Chandler was one of the young men killed. Lavelle Davis Jr. and Deshaun Perry. Their smiles just light up the room, really. Looking at them in their coat and tie for their football team photos and stuff, and just big time smiles and guys that well, like I said, anyone losing their life is a tragedy, but especially young men in their 20s. There were two other people wounded as well, although we don't quite know their names yet, or maybe we do. Mike Hollins Jr. maybe is one. Yeah, he was a running back on the team as well, so don't want to leave him out. He's fighting his wounds as well. And one of the two people injured was discharged Tuesday. Okay, so that's good news there. But anyway, just an absolute tragedy. I got to tell you this. I'll definitely be a Virginia fan the next couple of weeks as their season is finishing up. It's just awful to hear this. I remember something like this happened. Well, it was a mass shooting in Virginia Tech when I was in college. At the time, it was the biggest one ever. And we got a lot of people out there who need help, man. They need help. They need father figures or fathers. They need a purpose in their life. They need something. We hear all the time in this world how awful, especially America. We hear how awful America is, that we're only going to last a few more years anyway with, climate change and all these other things going on. And our history is awful. Our present is terrible, and we don't have a future. I mean, when you are constantly fed that to young people, feed that to young people, I mean, these tragedies are bound to happen. So there's some mental health issues out there in the country. There's also, I think, plenty of people who just need to suck it up and aren't struggling and are really doing a disservice to those who are in pain. And I'm not trying to diminish, I got to stop apologizing. That's another thing on the podcast. I'm always like, I don't want to, it's not doing any good. Anytime I'm like, I don't want to offend anyone here. It's like, you know what? From here on out, maybe I shouldn't care if I offend anybody, because maybe we just shouldn't as a society. We have too many feelings that are hurt these days. But anyway, that's a separate subject. I just wanted to talk about these young men who died and again had promising football careers, and if not that, then definitely life after football, and just an awful situation out in Charlottesville. So I'll be cheering on the Cavaliers for the remainder of the season. They're out in the ACC, and I can't imagine as a football team to move forward after this and try to piece it all together, put the pieces together, and go out there and compete and finish up your season. The head coach of their team, I can't imagine being in a situation where you woke up Sunday or whenever it was Monday, and you're down 3 of your players who were just killed. I mean, that Saturday, I don't even know if they had a game Saturday or whatever, but it's just awful. I hate seeing these things, especially when it's young people. But we really we got to stop pointing fingers at the problems that aren't there, and we need to start analyzing, like taking a deeper dive into this stuff. I mean, this wasn't just some gun that jumped off the table and started shooting people. No, it was a young man who was going through some stuff, and for whatever reason thought this was the answer to his problem. So he's in custody now. I will not mention his name because I don't care to, but the 3 young men from the University of Virginia, Devin Chandler, Lavelle Davis Jr., and Deshaun Perry. So hug those loved ones a little closer tonight, or the holiday season is approaching. And I think, unfortunately, it takes moments like this to put things in perspective from us. These guys did nothing wrong. They were playing football. They went to school. They went to campus. They did whatever. And all of a sudden, their lives are over. So you just never know. I mean, as someone who has lost family members, not to something like this, but just lost people prematurely, it's never an easy subject, but it's something I wanted to mention here on the Get Home Safe podcast, because ultimately that's a big reason for the title of the podcast. One of the many reasons it's named this, but it is important for us always to get home safe, no matter what we're doing. I always say that at the end of the show, jokingly and everything, but there is some truth in that. My dad said every time I left the house, it wasn't get home safe. It was be careful. And those, every time I left the house, from when you start leaving the house as a teenager, right? Or even as a young kid going to ball games or whatever, team outings, be careful. And it summed up so much to me over the years as you grow. It's like, he didn't say, don't be stupid, don't do this, don't do that. It was just, plus when you say don't do something, right? The nature inside of us is, oh, I'm going to eat the forbidden fruit, right? But no, my dad, I'll never forget that. He's always be careful. That sums up so many things. And I always try to carry that with me when I leave on a daily basis. But to all of us, man, get home safe. That's why I'm not changing the podcast name. I like its title. And it's a tribute to a time, when I was working baseball, and it's just, I don't know. I'm so proud of this podcast, guys, that it's gone as long as it has. I know many of you prefer the Charge to Keep podcast that I've been doing, and I understand that, but this is a moment for me to come on here weekly and to vent my frustrations or just talk about random topics. So Godspeed, University of Virginia, UVA, out there in Charlottesville. I think we're all going to be cheering for you a little louder here in the next few weeks. All right, where do I start today? Do I start with good news or bad news after, of course, that reported story? Where do I start? I'll save the good. I'm always how do you guys operate? Hey, you want the bad news or the good news first? Typically, I hit me with the bad news. I want to go uphill, right? I want, would that be better? Going uphill? Actually, no, I want to coast downhill with good news. You don't want to climb good hill. See, that's a tough analogy. It's an uphill battle. Well, that's a good thing, right? And then sometimes, the top of the mountain. Anyway, my analogy is all screwed up already. I always want the bad news first. That's me. To each his own. I don't know. I don't know if I've met anyone. Give me the good news first. Cheer me up and then bring me down. I'm not an optimist. I'm not a pessimist. I'm a realist, if that makes any sense. So I got some other news here. Oh, that's right. What is it? Trump is making an announcement as we speak right now. I wonder what that could be, right? More on that next week, I'm sure. So I am wearing my Rams gray. Got my gray Ram shirt on here for you not watching YouTube. I got my gray Rams hat, just a little different. Try to mix it up. And I got, of course, our gray background here. Looks like it's, rainy clouds like we had a few weeks ago. And then the Get Home Safe logo up top. More than all this for a rather somber occasion. Some would call it maybe a Rams funeral. I mean, there's worse tragedies in the world, which we've already heard about in the beginning of the show. But I wanted to wear my Rams gear today because the Rams season is officially over. Sitting at 3-6, they have lost. Anytime you start to you have twice as many losses as you do wins. Your season, you could maybe recover from a 2-4 record, but man, 3-6, 4-8. Sorry, I think your season's pretty much done, and they're running out of games to turn it around here. So, I am not going to be one of those fans that. You ever met these people? Oh, I'm a diehard this, and then the season ends, and you never see him wearing a Chargers hat or a Cowboys shirt. And I'm not saying that's the only thing that represents fandom. I'm just always curious. Like when the 49ers, the most hated team in my head, they have really good years. You can't put away those Niner fans. They're everywhere. It's an invasion. But when they miss the playoffs or whatever, all those 49er flag goes away. It's weird. And they hibernate and then they come out again and ruin my life annually, it seems. So I'm not bitter. A lot of people have been giving me flack all year, and rightfully so. My team won the Super Bowl last year in Los Angeles. A lot of you will never, ever, 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 ever experience your home team who you live close to the city that they play in, winning a Super Bowl in its own home stadium where you live very close to in proximity. Most of you will never experience it. I got to do that. And I'm happy I got to do that. It was almost like there's nothing left to cheer for now. Like, can I retire as a Rams fan? And I probably could have. Maybe I should have. But I am not going to curl up in a ball and cry. Again, I should say. I am not going to burn all of my Rams gear. I am not going to pout. This just wasn't their year. Last year was. And I'm fine with that. I got to see something that most of you never will experience. And I got to live it. It was fantastic. I've always been a recent relevance guy. And to most of you fans out there, the 2 or 3 fan bases I'm talking about. I'm not even going to mention your names. When you guys get that championship in the 21st century, let alone 2, man, you're going to love it. Maybe it'll be the 22nd century. So you may skip the whole 21st. But I got to tell you, all these history books, we're going to rewrite history. And some history cannot be ignored. And I understand that. There's been great success from other teams long time ago, decades ago, that they still try to live through. But hey, it's all about now. Yesterday is but a memory, right? So for a few more weeks, my LA Rams will continue to be the defending champs, but they will probably win less than 6 games. Man, they only got 3. How many games they got left? They are 3-6. My math tells me 9 more games. I don't think there's any way the Rams go on any kind of streak. Cooper Kupp looks like he's probably out for the year now. They've been awful. They've been awful. And I'm not a hangover guy. I don't believe in those things. I believe on powering through and sucking it up and on to the next day, on to the next task, whatever you got to do. No, not having excuses, but who knows? LA is a fun place to party. Maybe they just a little bit too much of that last year. So Godspeed, Rams. I wish you the best. I'm still going to watch you each week. You're still my team. I'm not going to be that guy that hides his gear. Not going to do it. Puts it away. Because a true fan wears his gear in the off season or after a 4-12 season. I did hear, I think the Rams are on pace to have the worst Super Bowl champion defense record in NFL history. I mean, you throw an extra game in there with the 17th game. That's a thing too. Oh, 17. So you got 8 games left. There's no way the Rams win even half of those. If they go 4-4 the remainder of the season, they'll still finish 7-10. Which is abysmal. Double-digit losses. Ugh. And I'm not going to gripe on numbers, but hey, I've been a target for most people out there. Everyone hates a winner. I get it. And unfortunately, LA, not their year. It's been tough. It's been disappointing to say the least. And I know every time you guys scroll and you see, why is an LA team on our TV again? Why do we get this regional coverage? We're living in a city, where we live. I know you're frustrated having to watch the Rams on Fox every week. But imagine what it's like for me. No, you guys don't care about the Rams. I do. So I won't say this is a funeral, but it's it's just hey, on to next season. Let's see what happens here next few weeks. Hopefully there's not too much infighting. Last year I buried the Rams at whatever it was, and then they won the Super Bowl. I said, oh, their season's over, blah, blah. When the 3-5 Niners, that was the thing I had hoped for. I was like, okay, the 49ers at some point last year were 3-5, and they rallied and got all the way to the championship game. But the Niners have a better roster. The Niners have a better play caller. The Niners have, they got a lot of things going for them. And I don't know. I don't know what it is. It shows you a lot. This is my argument with guys. I've had friends who are like, college football is way better than the NFL and blah, blah, blah. This is what's truly great about the NFL is that a team, they lost a few pieces last year. OBJ, Von Miller, obviously were the big ones. To win a Super Bowl in February and then look like one of the worst teams in the league a mere 8 months later. That says something about the difficulty of the league, how hard it is to have sustainable success in the league. And it's also, I point out to my college football fanatic friends that when, a Heisman Trophy winner or a really good guy in college, he just kind of vanishes in the NFL. What does that tell you about the skill level in the NFL? These are the greatest players in the world, greatest athletes in the world, I would argue. I mean, just look at them. the sheer size and strength and speed of them. The sheer combination of all of those things is just freakish. And anyway, it shows you how hard it is, and it shows you why not many teams. No, when was the last team to repeat? Was it it was the New England Patriots, right? 01, 02. Then they won another one in 04 or whatever it was. They were poised to win back to back, and then the Eagles beat them, right? So so there's been, it's so hard, and I'm not giving any excuses to the Rams. They look awful. They're one of the worst teams in the league, and I'm going to move on from it. But my point of all this, why I bring this up, I hate losing. I hate getting, all the texts and everything from everyone who vanished, for 10 months and just really kept their mouth shut, and they should have accordingly. I hate saying this, but in a sense, and any of you passionate fans out there who root for teams like in cities that you live in, understand this. Losing can be liberating. It is. From here on out, November on, I am free. I'm going to watch the Rams. I'm going to cheer for them. I'm going to scoff. But for losing is liberating. I now expect nothing from them. The season is over. I just have to stomach myself through 8 games. Why is my math bad? 48 quarters of football left. And I'm good. Losing can be liberating. I'm not saying it's the best thing. I'm just saying losing can be liberating for some of you fans out there. You've been through some bad seasons, and you probably gave up at some point in the season way earlier. Basically, Thanksgiving is the magical date, really, with teams. And if you're not competitive by Thanksgiving or in the hunt by Thanksgiving, it's pretty much over. And I haven't seen, if the Rams, that was one hope I had, was that the Rams were losing a lot of close games. A lot of close games, right? They weren't getting blown out. But first game of the year, you could argue they got blown out. 49er game, was it the second one? Second one at SoFi, blown out. But the first one up in Santa Clara, I mean, the games were close. It was like, okay, they've played really bad and they've been in games. So that was a little bit of hope. But there, 9 different offensive lines. I believe I've heard combinations, not just injuries left and right. And that's no excuse, because everyone has to deal with stuff like that. You got it. It's the NFL, right? And for not for long. Next team up, next guy up. Let's go. So I don't want to say, oh, it's not about winning or losing. It's how you have fun. It's how you play the game. No. I'm not saying any of that. It's all about winning. But when you can't win, you just hey, it's over. And it's all good. I'm going to enjoy the next 2 months of knowing that my team was the defending Super Bowl champs. And That's fine. I'm not greedy. Now, if this becomes a pattern, the next few years, we might have some problems. There might be some podcasts here that get a little graphic. But I don't know what it was. It just wasn't your dance, Rams. Wasn't your time. The silence of the Rams. What can I say, guys? It's okay. It's okay. I got to celebrate last year. I'm not that greedy. Now I get to root against teams extra hard because there's nothing quite like your worst enemies losing. I prefer that than my teams being successful, which is great. Adam Carolla had a great point on this that I want you guys to think about. I kind of mentioned it a few weeks ago indirectly, but he was saying the biggest problem with like putting people in groups, racially, genderly, is that a word? Genderly, different age, states, what anytime you put people in a group, he says you don't just or you try to elevate certain groups of people. You don't just magically only do that. You naturally push down other groups of people or like look down on other groups of people. And the example he gave was sports viewing. He's like, you can't just be taught to be a diehard Steelers fan, or hey, we're gonna as the Steelers get elevated, you're naturally taught that you hate the Ravens, and the Ravens, it's their fault that you weren't good for these years. That was the analogy he was going with. I thought it was brilliant. That this is the problem when we put people in groups or labels that we need more of this or more of that. I saw that in officiating, and I said I can't do this anymore because we're not looking for the best people anymore. I won't go into more of that, but I think some of kind of what's going on in different walks of life and maybe your jobs. So that's the problem with elevating or that trying to even things out, is that when you do that, you not only like either push someone up who shouldn't be there or say, well, this is more valuable or whatever. It's like by valuing something else, you're naturally taught, or natural instinct is to devalue something else, right? I don't know if I'm making sense. That's just the analogy that Carolla went with. I thought it was great, and I don't know why I wasn't able to sort it out. But anyway, enough of the Rams, enough of me venting and ranting away. I'm calm. I'm fine. Losing can be liberating. I'm not giving up. I'm not waving the red flag. Well, I'm kind of giving up. I'm still going to be there, but I'm going to still wear this hat proudly, another hat proudly. And hey, on to better things, hopefully in the near future. I really do hope so, because I've been a Rams fan a long time. I know how to get through a bad season. Don't you worry about me, guys. I've lived this stuff. I lived it. Okay, on to some other things. Losing can be liberating. I don't. It's better to win to liberate. I don't know. It was something I just came up with. Little alliteration. It flowed off the tongue. Flowed off the tongue. Flewed, man alive. Okay. I want to talk about preparation, if you will. Sometimes we do things that don't make sense in the moment, and we don't even know that what we're doing is preparing us for something later. And sometimes we run into something that we did not prepare for, and we're like, man, why didn't I think of this earlier? This could have easily been avoidable. And I'm going to give you guys an example why I started thinking about this. So I get up about 5:30, maybe earlier, like Mondays, and it's cold outside, and I'm bundling up, ready to head out off to FedEx. And something I told myself I would do after a few times I got burned, literally, was, man, I need to put sunscreen on my cheeks here, just my cheeks, because when you're in a truck, you got your shades on, right? But through the glass, you're just getting that heavy solar flares just bearing down on this cheek area. And if I didn't have a beard, it'd probably be other areas too, my nose and everything. So it doesn't look that bad on camera here, but and it was just at the end of the day, I'd be bright red through here, and I'm like, man, it's not like I'm sunbathing or something, but I'm in a truck most of the day, and I'm outside as well, walking to doors and stuff. But it's like, okay, I gotta put sunscreen on, and I had sunscreen in my bag, but it wasn't always. That's something you think about. You get working, you're doing it at work, you're at work, and you're just like, I want to pull the sunscreen out now, and then put it on, and then it's all greasy, and I gotta go wash my hands. It's just, it's a mess. So you're just like, I'm not doing it. But then a few times you get burned, end of the day. And so the conscious decision I had to make was, look, I'm not going to put this stuff on in the middle of the day. I'm just not going to do it. When you start sweating already and it's putting stuff on, you're just not going to do it. So something I had to do, and I started to do, is putting on sunscreen at 5 a.m. or whatever, 5:30, whatever time I get up, as I'm brushing my teeth and putting it, my contacts in. I made that part of my morning routine. And first few times I said, yeah, I'm going to do it. Make sure I do this. But me, I'm very visual. At 5:30 in the morning, everything's a little foggy, right? I'm just like, no, I need that sunscreen out on my bathroom, out of my bathroom sink to remind me, oh yeah, put that on. Cause it takes 30 seconds or whatever, right? To rub it in, maybe a minute. And it's just like, so that's how I have to operate. That's how my mind works. It's like, this is something I need to fix. I need to do. And then I didn't fix it. And I needed, okay, how do I get to this point? How do I get to a point where this is fixed? What do I have to do? Oh, I need to put that sunscreen on at 5 a.m. The bottle's got to be out. So I remember to do it until I get it into my habit. It just got me thinking, it's like the great Wooden quote, right? John Wooden, failing to prepare is preparing to fail. Very, very simple, very direct. But I think there's a lot of avenues in our life where we do fail to prepare. And all we're doing when we do that is preparing ourselves to fail. So it was just something that I experienced in my life, and I wanted to share it with you guys. It was really an analogy for other things that are going on in my life. And so many times throughout the day, it's like, oh yeah, I need to remember to do that. I need to make this a priority more in my life. How am I going to make something more of a priority? I'm trying to read, I'm reading a book, The Rational Bible by Dennis Prager, where he takes the book of Exodus. I swear it takes me years to read books sometimes. And I'm trying to right that wrong, because I'll read a little bit of a book and then put it down. And all of a sudden, it's years later. It's like, oh, I never finished that. But I'm trying to read this book, The Rational Bible by Dennis Prager, where he takes every verse in Exodus. It's just the book of Exodus, every verse, and then he gives commentary on it. And it's been fantastic. And I did Exodus first, because that's the order that he wrote them. He also has one out in Genesis, and his most recent one came out in Deuteronomy. But it's fantastic. It's a commentary Bible for people who are Christian, for people who are Jewish, and even for the atheists out there. It's basically why the Bible is important, why the Torah specifically, the first 5 books of the Bible, are so significant and important to our history too. So I started reading that. And so as another example, with the sunscreen at 5 a.m., right? You don't think sunscreen at 5 a.m. Why would I do that? It's going to be dark a while. With the book, I had to physically, it's a big book. I mean, it's bigger than the Bible, literally. And I would think, I'm going to read that. I'm going to try to read 30 minutes a night. That was a goal I had, right? And I'd have it by the bedside. Well, the problem was, you're either getting up tired and having to leave and go somewhere, or you lay down at the end of the night and you're just like, so what I had to do, I had to adjust. I was like, it's been a month or two, I haven't read from this book. I had to put the book in my car and keep it in the car. So if I get to work early, which I always try to do, 10, 15 minutes, and get to work early, I can read there for 5 or 10 minutes, right? If I'm waiting for an Uber passenger, rather than continue to listen to the things that are in my ear, hey, I can hit pause. I can read the book for 5 minutes while I'm waiting for my next Uber call, or turn the thing off altogether and just read during my lunch break or something, right? So that is something I had to adjust to. I was trying to think of what's another example with this whole sunscreen at 5 a.m. thing. I'm visual. I have to see things. And that's why a lot of times I will leave things out, even because I like things to be placed accordingly. When I see something out of place, it reminds me to do something. Oh yeah, I need to do that. Right. It could be anything. I usually leave my laptop underneath the coffee table, but if I leave it on maybe the couch, it'll remind me, oh yeah, I'm supposed to do something tonight. That's how I work. My mind is racing all the time. I also set off alarms all throughout my day as like my checklist, just to do little things like, hey, podcast tonight at 6:00, like things like that. So I don't know how you guys do things, or if I'm the lunatic and maybe just have too much going on in my life, but that's just how I operate, guys. So, sometimes we want to do stuff, we prepare, we say, yeah, I'm going to start working out. I'm going to start eating better, right? These are things I've done or not done in the past. I've started eating a little better now the past couple of months, but the reason I'm doing that, I would say the past month. The reason I'm doing that is because I'm fueling up or defueling up for Thanksgiving, because I'm not one of these single Thanksgiving Day guys. It's a whole week. The beauty of Thanksgiving is it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, in my opinion. Lots of leftovers. And before that, you start munching. You start maybe you go out Wednesday night to get dinner or eat something bad, right? Because you're gonna have a big home cooked meal the next day. And so there's some indulgence on Thanksgiving, the week that is. Much like I feel Christmas is a season, is like a 2-month season. Thanksgiving it's a week long. And then you have different families and friends that you try to meet up with. You end up having like 4 or 5 Thanksgivings. Anyway, I mean, like a fighter training. I've been limiting calories as much as I can the past few weeks and preparing for the biggest food weeks of the year. And after that, I'll take another few weeks off as best I can. And then once Christmas, I would say the 21st through about the 27th, maybe, there'll be a lot of Christmas indulgence as well, with the cookies everywhere. And let's have some of this, have some of that. It's out there, it's everywhere. So dreadful time. No, not really. It's my favorite time of year. It really is. My football team, my Rams are no more, really. It's tough not seeing Rio out there anymore. All I got now is USC, and I'm not even that big of a fan with SC, but I want to see them beat the Bruins this Saturday, and then hopefully beat Notre Dame, and then the Pac-12. Man, they got a shot to not just go to a Rose Bowl, but to get in the college football playoff. And how cool would that be in Lincoln Riley's first year at USC? That would be really something else. The rivalry this Saturday, UCLA and SC. I think one of the best rivalries in college football. I love Army Navy. I love Ohio State, Michigan. I love Alabama, Auburn. But 2 schools playing in the same city. I mean, you could basically put all these every kid on this roster from the county of Los Angeles and beyond, really to be to fill those rosters. But they got guys from other schools too. It's going to be really, really, really cool. Two teams that are both good. The past few years, one's been good, one hasn't. UCLA just destroyed SC last year. That was rather embarrassing in the Coliseum. I have a question for UCLA this Saturday. Are they going to take the big blue tarps from the Rose Bowl stands, where they usually have to put up because they can't get that many people in the Rose Bowl to see their games? Hey, it's no knock. I would do it too. Much, when attendance is low, you got to fill it, make it look filled somehow. And again, to those out there, back in my junior high days, I was a big UCLA fan. I pulled for the Bruins, and we all make mistakes in life, things I'm not proud of. Maybe some of you used to vote Democrat and you changed your mind. I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding. Not really. Maybe, we've all made mistakes and done things we shouldn't have done. And it's probably because I would say the number one reason was a breakup or people I was affiliated. I was like, why am I rooting for a UC school? So this is stupid. Anyway, it's a long story. Someday I'll fill it. But anyway, we'll see if the USC Trojans can take care of business. UCLA, if they would have both been 1-loss teams going into Saturday, that would have been so cool. But Bruins lost to, who was it? Arizona Saturday night. Oregon went down to. What a weekend it has been in college football. And I am just, I am grateful for the college game for a lot of reasons. And one of those is I will get to right now. Oh, so we have breaking news. 6:20. Donald Trump announces 2024 re-election run for president. I don't think that's surprising to anybody. I think he waited until after the midterms. I don't know if there was legal reasons or whatever that he has to do that. But anyway, that's not surprising at all. And I think with the midterms not being heavily Republican, I think that really serves for Joe Biden to, in fact, run again. I think if he got killed in the midterms, then they would probably be like, hey, why don't we try this Gavin Newsom guy or whoever? But I think, I don't know. The thing is with Trump, in the Democrats' eyes, they're terrified of him, but they also know they can beat him because they just did a couple of years ago. However you feel about that, Joe Biden's the president. And so they know, I think they know that Donald Trump stirs up so much emotion in people, right or wrong, right or left, however you want to say it. Whether it's Trump derangement syndrome, with his supporters or his haters. I mean, I think the Democrats don't fear him like they did from like 2016 to 19. I think, they always hated him, and a lot of people hate Donald Trump, and a lot of people blindly follow him too. There's plenty of things I don't like that he has done. But anyway, that's not surprising. I'm curious now if does DeSantis get in the race? I mean, he just won re-election last week in Florida, in a state where they actually count votes on the day of the election. I know that's super weird, but he just won re-election there. So I don't know. We'll see. I would, if I was king for a day, if things worked out perfect for me, and it never does, as me, the Rams fan, I would prefer probably Trump to run here in 2024 and DeSantis to run in 2028. I think that may happen anyway, but it'll be interesting to see if DeSantis jumps in the race this year just to feel it out. And then there's kind of a little rivalry going there already, and I think America is waiting to see how that goes down. So anyway, you guys know how I feel. The side of the aisle I'm on a lot of things, but no surprise there. Donald Trump announces officially his run for president in 2024, and it's going to be a 2-year campaign. He got it. I don't know when the primaries are, usually the summer of the month. So for about a year and a half now, until the primaries, and we'll see who's brave enough to step out there. I mean that sincerely, and to take on Donald Trump and the Republican side of things, and to see how things get divided, like who goes. I think a few years ago, everyone's like, Joe Biden. There's as far as the Democratic primaries, people were like, he was probably last in a lot of people's eyes, but he surprisingly jumped a lot of people. The Bernies, the Kamalas of the world, the who's the Indian chief? Warren. That's right. Chief Warren, Chief Elizabeth Warren, they jumped her. And so these people dropped off, and it was like, oh, Biden's the guy. So you never know what can happen in the primaries. I mean, if it's divided in the primaries, that's a bad. Biden a couple of years ago really in the primaries separated himself from the other candidates. And I'm really curious in the primaries here in a year and a half, does Trump blow everyone out of the water, or is it like a little more divided? I mean, when does DeSantis make his announcement that he's either in the race or not in the race? I don't think he can. I think he has to wait at least a year. He was just elected in Florida, right? Just reelected, I should say. So interesting stuff here. Trump's going to put on a show. And, as far as the sanctimonious, Ron DeSanctimonious, as he called, I'm like, come on there, Donald, look in the mirror. He's a little prideful himself. So we'll see what happens in the presidential election. But for now, what day is it? It's Tuesday night. The election was 1 week ago. And what did you know? There's still votes being counted in some states, especially California, which why is this whole mail-in ballot thing? You guys, you have to admit, with the whole conspiracy theorist thing, if it takes a week to count votes, that's not like suspicious to you when others, that's not like at all. And then when it's not a horse race where you see positions change all the time. It went up this way, then down this way. I mean, generally you don't see that in your standard counting that occurs the day of an election. So I despise mail-in ballots. I don't understand why this is a thing. I don't understand why a lot of things are a thing, but some people are just comfortable with it. I'm not being a bitter loser. I'm simply saying when we're going to count votes that have not been counted yet and that are, they're secure. They're secure. Well, what would be secure is showing a person and voting with an ID, preferably. But it's so crazy to me. I don't know. This whole Arizona governor race, the senator race in Arizona and Nevada. I mean, it's suspicious to say the least. How long do you count stuff? Why is it other states, again, got their numbers in on Tuesday night, last week, early Wednesday morning, yet these mail-in ballots, when you allow for mail-in ballots, you want to talk about the safe and secure elections. You're leaving it possible. You're leaving eyebrows raised, if nothing else. You're keeping a possibility that there could be foul play. And I want things as secure as possible. Personally, whoever wins, honestly, I want. Hey, if that's the beauty of democracy, and our republic is that, hey, we have elections, and whoever wins that's what the people have spoken, right? I just hope that the people, the the speech that is being spoken allegedly by the people is actually that. So anyway, my 2 cents on that. But again, losing can be liberating too. As far as the country goes, I can't see that being a big anyway. Ugh, crazy stuff out there. You know what's nuts to me? I think I talked about fascism a couple weeks ago, and how you see, like, it is one of this. It's funny, but it's sad, really, when you see these college campuses with you know, right-wing speakers, I guess, guest speakers at college campuses, and all these college kids are just screaming hysterically, shouting them down, not letting them speak, not letting them, just screaming their heads off. And it's like, wait, who's the fascist here? Wait, you calling the speaker is a fascist? Well, do you know what a fascist is? And it sounds like you're kind of being a fascist right now, not letting somebody speak with maybe an opinion that's different than yours. Weird. I would love to see on a college campus some young Republican group or conservative group. I would love to see them shouting down a left-wing speaker. You don't really see that, because most people aren't. If you're secure in your beliefs, in your opinions, you're not really threatened by somebody else's opinions or ideas. Like, we have free speech in this. It's literally the First Amendment. Like, you believe what you believe, I believe what I believe. And it's also my right to believe that you're wrong. But I'm not going to sit here and be like, no, silence them. Then again, I go to most of the podcasts I listen to, I gain information from, or I relay information to you guys. And again, Dennis Prager, he came up with something this week that was really, really interesting. He's like, some kid called into his fireside chat and was like, hey, I don't know who to believe. Each side says the other side's lying. How do I know who to believe? And maybe for you younger people out there, this is a good lesson. But he came up with basically that the side that is trying to censor the other is probably the one that's lying, because truth tellers aren't they're secure in their truth. They're not like, don't let them say that. There was a bunch of COVID stuff, right? And most people were like, that's not. And the people that were wrong and were lying, they were the ones saying, they're not allowed to say this. Censor them from Twitter. Take away their videos. Not too many times in the history of the world that the truth tellers have been the ones doing the censoring. And for the people that were like, well, we didn't know, but we had to assume that we were right. And so we had to minimize and take away your free speech platform because what you were promoting was death. Really interesting. All these, what did I say last week? Deniers, all these mask deniers. Did they all die? All these vaccine deniers, lots of them dead. Well, they're in this one article, Matt, I can show you. Well, okay, they're whatever. It's an interesting thought. I want you to think about. It definitely hit me this week as far as truth. It was like, okay, whatever. If you don't know what truth is, and there's two people, two parties, two whatever, and one is trying to censor your opinions on a matter, not give you a voice because they're threatened by your voice. Maybe their belief isn't totally true. Maybe it's not pure. Just a thought. Again, this show is random thoughts, man, and I thought I'd share that one with you guys. Did you guys see The Atlantic, a failing newspaper? I gotta read you guys this article. It came out last week. The Atlantic COVID. That's all you gotta say. Now remember, for 2 years, for 2 years, we got shouted down if we were like, I don't want to wear a mask. Oh, I don't want to take a vaccine. Oh, you're gonna kill everyone. For 2 years, we were told that we were going to kill grandparents, that what was their headline? It's out here. There it is. This was on Halloween. Oh, that's perfect. This was on Halloween a few weeks ago. And this is from The Atlantic. And again, a very left-leaning newspaper, which is kind of, I guess, redundant saying the same thing, really. But this is an article, and this is hilarious because I have some thoughts on this. It says, let's declare a pandemic amnesty. Let's focus on the future and fix the problems we still need to solve. Basically, yeah, and it goes into social distancing. And basically, it's begging the people that ended up being right about all this stuff that most COVID freakouts people, whatever you want to call them, the ones that said social distancing, wear a mask outdoors, whatever else they did that we tried to ignore and not listen to. They're begging for forgiveness, basically, for acting that way because we didn't know. We didn't know. Well, how come the people you were talking down to, how come they knew? Maybe they didn't know either, but they were just acting rationally and being like, this irrational thinking or irrational actions is not right. And we may not be 100% right, but no, I'm not going to be scared of this. What's going on. I'm not going to act the way. And now these people are, because all the science, all the data, looking back, well, masks didn't really work. Well, maybe most of the deaths were older people who had pre-existing conditions. We didn't know that back then, even though you guys were saying it. We didn't know that. So this article in the Atlantic is begging for amnesty, COVID amnesty. Let's declare up. No, I'm not. I'm not forgetting that you were the ones that wanted people fired from their jobs out on the street because they wouldn't take a vaccine. I am not forgiving you for looking at us as second-class citizens. We didn't want to wear masks outdoors when we wanted to live our lives. We wanted to just go to the grocery store, to go to the beach, to do everyday things. We wanted kids at school. And now you want us to forgive you for all that? Sorry, not happening. Forgive and forget. No, not happening to me. I will never forget how most of this stuff went down. Inflation is rough, guys. I don't eat fast food. I know I look like it. I drove past, Jack in the Box. It's $3 for 2 tacos now. Remember the good old days when it was 99 cents, 2 tacos? Well, here's a 5. You know what I mean? $3 for 2 tacos. That's the shape we're in, guys. I don't know how many of you guys are going to be able to afford Thanksgiving dinner. For me, it's going to be a whacker. But why do we think we can fix everything? That's my other thing. As far as like government, these people that want to fix everything. You can't. No, just stay away. Give me freedom and let me figure it out. Don't try to fix everything. I know those are random topics right there. I also posted New York Giants coach Brian Daboll, baby. Hey, bald head, beard, heavy set. My kind of guy. Doppelganger, indeed. I might, if they keep winning, I might have to go as him for Halloween. I posted his photo not too long ago. That was a lot of fun. And then let me see. Saving up for Thanksgiving. I talked about that. Not just money, but food wise. I want bread right now so bad. I want it for Thanksgiving. I'm getting a big old baguette, and I'm gonna probably eat the whole thing by myself. Gonna make some scalloped potatoes. You know what? I'll get into next week's Thanksgiving menu for the house here, for the home here, the home kitchen. It'll be a home game for sure. And I'll let you guys know what we're cooking. It's gonna be graphic, guys. I hope you guys are ready to eat through the screen here. Sorry, it's been a long day. And that will bring me to one of my final points of the evening. In moving forward, the plan for now is to do this podcast Tuesday nights, or probably Tuesday nights more than likely, maybe on the weekend, but I like kind of reacting to everything that goes down on the in the weekend, especially during football season. So the plan for now is to do an episode Tuesday nights. I am going to probably release the episodes on Wednesday mornings, bright and early. So we're kind of coming a day early there, kind of, still on the 1 day a week schedule, but bright and early, middle of the week, really, as we used to do the weekly Wednesday weigh-in with Bill Barnes, right? Record on Tuesday or whatever, and then have it out on Wednesday. So still 1 episode a week, but a couple of reasons I am doing that now is because I no longer have Thursdays off. Thursdays were always a nice day to kind of do my podcasting, do my shopping, do other things that I had to get to throughout the week. But now I am unavailable on Thursdays because big news at my new job at FedEx, or my job I've been at for over 2 years, FedEx. I'm officially going full-time, a It's been a long time coming. For those they're like, what's the difference from what you, not a whole lot of, it's just more volume from what I was doing before. Typically Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, I would go in bright and early, do some early morning deliveries, come back, load up a big truck, go take a big truck delivery to a couple of businesses, or maybe I'd go back out and do, I don't know, 20 deliveries or whatever and come back. I was usually done around 1 o'clock or so as a part-time driver, and got to work on Saturdays, or had to work on Saturday mornings as well. That's why I had the day off Thursdays. They give you one day off during the week if you're going to work Saturdays. Well, I've been selected, chosen, whatever you want to call it, promoted to a full-time position. So my life now at FedEx is going to be even busier. And it's not just because of the peak Christmas season coming. I'll be like a 7 a.m. to 5 or 6 p.m. kind of guy. Monday through Friday, though. Saturdays will be off just in time for the very last couple of weeks of college football. Yes, indeed. Just in time for the conference championship on Saturday. And then, of course, NFL playoff games. What was hard for me the first year at FedEx was working nights and then having to work Saturday nights, right? And I would try to get out of there by 7 to rush home and see a little bit of boxing or MMA, and then obviously off all day Sunday. When I switched to mornings back in March, it was still a part-time position, but I took it because I wanted to be home at night for the most part, see Val occasionally, and also be able to watch Monday Night Football, Thursday Night Football, Saturday college football. So now Saturdays are there for me as possibly an overtime day, during the non-football season if I want to go in and get some extra hours. But I'm telling you guys this because I've been pursuing this for over 2 years. And back in September of 2020, I let you guys know that I had kind of some big news about potential career thing starting up, and I was nervous and scared and worried about FedEx. But since I've joined it, I've really enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed the ride. It's been fun. I've met some amazing people. It's fun having a purpose every day to bring people their stuff or take their stuff from them and ship it off. Like, you feel productive. You feel like you are doing something, like you're benefiting society. It's very fulfilling. And not everyone probably feels that way, but that's just how I feel. So it's been something that has fulfilled something in my life greatly. And I really, really have enjoyed it. And I've wanted to be full-time for a long time. And it's taken me 2 years and 2 months to get to this point where I've officially started this week, why I'm not off Thursdays anymore, and why the only time I can really record is Tuesday nights. And while Valerie's doing a bagpiping lesson on Tuesday nights, I was like, wait a minute, I'll go upstairs and I'll do my hour or whatever during that. That'll be perfect. So a lot going on here at the home. We got bagpiping lessons downstairs with a police officer, mind you, in case anyone is thinking of intruding. And then and then my podcast going Tuesday night. So that's the plan moving forward. Going to be Wednesday release episodes for the most part, 1 day a week. And for all you guys who have supported me in my pursuit of my job and everything, I thank you so much. And look, I don't look like, how do I say this? I again, very visual. I believe in signs. I believe God talks to us in different ways, and whatever your beliefs. I see things that happen, and then I sit back and I kind of chuckle, and I'm like, oh, that's funny. And maybe this is a stretch. I don't know. When I started Care Youth League, I wanted number 20 when I was in second grade. I wanted my first jersey. I just like number 20. I want number 20. And someone else already had that, so they gave me 22. And so for a year or two, I wore number 22, and then eventually switched to 15 in my teenage years and stuff. But 22 was my first jersey. And as I was thinking today about the whole, how long it's taken to get to this moment, it was like 2 years and 2 months. Okay, that's kind of, I don't know. That's maybe God having a sense of humor, just saying, hey, haha, here's some plans. And when I started back in September 2020, I didn't know how long all this was going to take. I didn't know if I'd like it. I didn't know. I was just committed. I dove all in, and I've been all in the past 2 years and 2 months. And I'm grateful for it. And I have had multiple opportunities, many to not. I shouldn't say opportunities, because they're just like, they're more requests than anything, but some opportunities. I've been asked to come back to college baseball and promised a full schedule, making more money and doing more stuff than I'd ever done before. in college baseball. I've been, told, oh, you should come, you can pick your high school football schedule, come do that. I've been asked to come back and do so many things. And there's been brief moments where I've been like, maybe I could do it or swing it. But for now, that stuff's behind me and I'm at peace with it. I'm happy doing what I'm doing. I have a fulfilling job that is also stable and benefits and all those things. I have a very fun hobby here, a podcast that I'm doing. I got the Real Hondo thing that I'm doing that I'm excited about. And I got some, if I need some extra money, I can go make some Uber. Like things are looking good right now. I'm going to probably be doing a lot less Uber because I'm going to be getting off late and coming straight home. And except for Tuesday nights, going to record and usually just going to go to sleep and look forward to the weekend of sports and, chores and things too. But anyway, that's just some insight into my life. And it's also a challenge I have for people out there that um you kind of you don't know your direction. You're kind of like, I don't know what I want to do. I used to hate when people ask me that because I would get frustrated. I don't know, man. I don't know what I'm going to do. Well, you have a degree. Well, yeah, that's so what? And it's just fresh. Every step along the way of life has gotten me to this moment, and I have so much more to learn, so many more goals to accomplish. But when you stop and look back and just like every step I took along the way, and there were some backward steps too, they were for a reason. And I'm happy for the lessons learned, the tough times, the good times. And I'm sure the new challenge now is it's going to be some long days, man. I mean, we're talking 80, 90 stops all throughout the day. I mean, it's going to be fast paced. By the end of the night, I'm going to be feeling it, which is good. It's a good thing. And I'm looking forward to the challenge. But I want to ask you guys something in closing that I thought about the other day, and it hit me. And it's a very simple question because I was kind of retabulating all of my my life, what's going on. And there's some things I really, really want to improve on that I'll talk to you guys about at another time. Other things I want to do, but for the most part, I'm content. I'm not complacent, but I'm content right now. I'm feeling good. And there's a lot of things I want to improve on. My life, my personal life. There's things goals that I have. So don't think I'm just sitting around here not doing anything. No, there's plenty more I want to do. But the thought came to mind because for me, the Real Hondo Charge to Keep thing was so much fun. And it was such a joy to do. And I can't wait for next year, as is this podcast. But I want to ask people out there, what do you do for joy in your life? There's plenty of things that I do. And selfishly, I get to watch a lot of football. I get to do the podcast thing. I get to go hit golf balls. There's a lot of things I do that give me joy. And maybe not all of us can do a lot of different things, but I've talked to some friends and been like, well, you do that because that's your job. You do that because that's your relationship, because that is your family. Because is there one thing or two? What is something that just gives you joy that you go out of your way to do that gives you joy? Because I think that's important, man. No matter what your beliefs are, no matter what your situation is, you got to find something that gives you joy. It might be running through the sprinklers with your kids. It might be, I don't know, doing a Bible sermon. It might be hitting a golf ball. Or maybe it is, doing a random podcast, or who knows? But I think each of us, I've seen a lot of people just start to kind of get sad and angry. And I'm kind of like back to the beginning of this podcast and the tragedy in Virginia. Like, what do you do for fun, man? What is something that gives you joy? There's plenty of disappointments in life. That girl doesn't, return your call. You fail a test. You get a slap on the wrist at work. You get, in trouble. You get a speeding ticket. Life is tough sometimes, and we just have to. But one thing that's helped me is like, what gives you joy? What is something you do? It might be a one-on-one thing, maybe a something by yourself, and if you're with somebody, maybe they need to understand that, hey, this is something I do that really gives me joy. I can't abuse it. I can't do too much of it because I have responsibilities, but I really want to try. Maybe it's taking a hike. I don't know. Whatever works for you. My challenge to you guys is find out what brings you joy. And maybe there's things you can't experience anymore. I don't get to play football anymore, right? Those days are, plus who would have me? Look at me. I don't get to compete anymore. Some people like, oh, come compete and do this. It's like that, I don't know. for me, I'm not in the right headspace for some of that stuff. But what do you do for joy? Find out what you do. Pick an item or two, and then try to take part in those things. And of course, we have responsibility. We have things we have to do, things we should do, right? But I think we need to also enjoy ourselves. Enjoy ourselves in the handful of things that really do make us happy, because happiness is a choice. And I've preached about that before. I won't do any more here on the Get Home Safe podcast, but just wanted that final thought, really fuel for thought, food for thought. There it is. I knew I'd get it out eventually. Just something to think about. And again, I come on the podcast to express things I'm thinking about. And so I wanted to share that with you guys today. All right, guys, thanks for joining me on another edition of the Get Home Safe podcast. Big news next week. Maybe, we'll see. Bill Barnes has agreed to do an episode here very soon. I'm going to try to do that next week, but if not, it'll be in the future weeks to follow. But we'll have him on here on a Wednesday, just like old times. There'll be plenty for Bill to rant and rave about, I'm sure, and cannot wait for that. But until then, it'll be just me, maybe occasional guests on here as well to keep this podcast going. We are fastly approaching our 400th episode of the Get Home Safe podcast. Hard to think about, but for those of you who've been loyal listeners, thank you from the bottom of my heart. And thanks for bearing with me here week in and week out on the Get Home Safe podcast. Have a great week, guys. Start shopping for that turkey, mashed potatoes, macaroni, whatever you're buying, man, and start saving up, start earning those calories, if you know what I mean. I know I am, maybe not fast enough, but it's on next week. This time next week, all the good stuff will be in the fridge ready to go, and I will be sharing with you what is on my Thanksgiving menu. I'd love to hear from you guys. Email me, shoot me a voice message, maybe some of your Thanksgiving traditions. That would be really cool to hear. I might reach out on social media, see if we can get you guys involved. But I will be here next week, guys. Wednesdays is the new official time of the Get Home Safe podcast. Have a great week. We'll see you next time. And guys, as always, no matter what you're doing, whether you're out on the town or rounding third base, get home safe.